Hey YouTube, this is Travis with Nostalgic Duelist, and I have come to give you the Yu-Gi-Oh! Spellcaster's Command Structure Deck. Now, I kind of seen this at the store and I'm wondering, this is a pretty new one. I know I haven't given you my other video yet, but I will be doing that. But if you guys see the Machine Madness, it came with 3 structure decks. My gosh, that's pretty cool. For I think it's like the price of $20 or so, which is really good if you look at it, because hypothetically they should be cheap, which if you get them in that, like that, the box itself, they are cheap. But this pack looks like it might have some promise to it. Just look at the cards. And for those who are into spellcasters, like I'm trying to make a spellcaster deck, but it hasn't been very easy because now, back then there was a very specific way of making a spellcaster deck. And spellcasters focus a lot on support cards and strategic cards, like Thousand Knives for Dark Magician or Mystic Box. Which, by the way, Mystic Box, it's not specified towards Dark Magician at all. You can actually use it for any for any monster in general. And now we have a structure deck that's based off of spellcasters, which could be very useful. I looked on the back of this, and there are a lot of familiar cards. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and we're going to open this baby up. Hopefully I might be able to find something in here that can help finalize that spellcaster deck. So I can do a review on that and show you my version of a spellcaster deck. And for those who are watching, if you make these boxes, you can kind of see that the adhesive is a little bit on the strong side. I do like to preserve these boxes the best I can because, believe it or not, I actually have, from my Machine Madness, I have all of those boxes. So I can kind of like have a trophies collection. But if the adhesives are going to be super strong, well, there's no point keeping them. Woo! So let's take this bad boy out. Box. Bam. So, like I do with every pack, you actually have one of 3 things. You have a very, very detailed, I don't know about ultra detailed, but you have an extremely detailed rule book that's in the latest version. Now, if you're like me, or for those who are like me, we practically know this book in and out, and if we ever consult to this book, it's for maybe something like this. Where is it? Right here, like the extra section, where they have public, right here, yeah, other rules. Forbidden Unlimited cards, monster tokens, rules versus card effects, 0 attack monsters, when multiple cards are activated simultaneously, and etc. and etc. And maybe, of course, the glossary every now and then. But otherwise, the general portion of these rules are, to us, are nothing. We already know what we're doing. And also, it usually comes with a mat, and sometimes these mats are extremely detailed, some are not. In this case, this one's pretty cool. I like this. Spellcaster's Command Mats. Look at that, man. That's not that bad. I might actually keep this and use it as a dueling mat. And of course, always comes with a deck list and, might I add, strategy guide. Like a miniature strategy guide, where it shows you the best possible way to utilize this deck's potential. Of course, when you get more than either one of that deck, or fuse it with another deck, it works. And then of course they come with their own marketing strategies as well, by the way, and other tournaments that you can do. And now the deck. By the way, guys, for those who want to know how to open this, you don't need any type of tool. There's this little tab, if you can see it right here. Watch. Bam. Tab. And watch, it literally just follows you. And it's done. So, that would mean that this would add another type of spellcaster to the list of magicians of some sort. Which can be very, very useful. Oh wow. I actually have one of these cards in here. Actually, I have a couple of these cards. That's what I thought for this one. Sorry guys, you'll understand what I'm saying in just a moment. Just trying to see about this deck, structure deck, to see if it was any good to begin with. Which, from the looks of it, I'm not going to lie, it doesn't look that bad. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Alright, so we have actually a pretty decent structure deck here. Of course, we have the Endymion, the Master Magician. Bam, 2700 attack, 17 defense. Oh wow, and it also, this might be the one and only card that I might read the effect for in this deck, unless, again, you put in the description of cards you want me to extrapolate more information about. You can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. Pretty cool. Let me just get this closer to you guys. There we go. From your hand or graveyard by removing 6 spell counters from a magical seal of Endymion you control. If summoned this way, target one spell card in your graveyard and add that target to your hand. Once per turn, you can discard one spell card, then target one card on the field and destroy that target. Pretty useful. If we remember a certain card that once flip summon, you can bring back one magic card from the graveyard and add it to your hand. She's banned now and only has 300 attack, but she was a very good card. This card plays the same role, but it has, if you look at it, it has 3 effects in one. If you have an Endymion, which I'm only assuming is in here, but Endymion, this card looks pretty cool. So for the next one, we have Disenchanter, which looks pretty decent. Good, it has some pretty good stats. And you know, a lot of newer spellcaster cards these days have counters on them. This has one of those effects with counters. Those who know the Zexal know that this card is automatically going to have a counter on it, or the ability. Hannibal Necromancer. I can't say that this is a new card, but I don't recall if it's an old card either. Has, I'm not going to say the best of stats, but it does good for what it has. Summoner Monk. A lot of people know that this card does exist outside of this structure deck. And, excuse me, I burped, sorry. Whew. So this one doesn't actually look like it has a counter, as the Necromancer did. Dark Red Enchanter. See, do we have like a light enchanter? Nope, we have a disenchanter. So Dark Red Enchanter has decent stats for level 5. and it has spell counters. Skilled Dark Magician would only be in here if you were going to have an idea of maybe adding a Dark Magician in this deck. Wink wink maybe. Skilled Dark Magician's ability states that if you have 3 counters, which by the way are only stacked if you have or have activated 3 spell type cards or magic cards. You can tribute this card along with the counters to summon Dark Magician. Has some pretty good stats. 19 and 17 is not that bad. Apprentice Magician. It's how do I say this? It's a decent card, but you have to have something to protect it. And of course, not just one, there's 2 of them. Again, this card is very good when it comes for summoning high-level cards. Old Vindictive Magician is just like Man-Eater Bug. Regardless of position, the flip effect, it destroys a monster on the field. Magical Marionette. This card is actually not that bad. The effect is pretty decent, and the card itself has 2000 attack, so it can be pretty useful. Breaker the Magical Warrior. Again, for a lot of people who played Yu-Gi-Oh! Know that this card is not exactly new. It's quite old, very old. And also is one of those monsters that have counters on in their effect. Oh, sorry. Magical Plant Mandragola. This is also a flip card, and it seems to also have counters on it. Royal Magical Library. It's a very good card. It has very good defense, and like all the other cards, also has hold on one moment, guys. Beep boop 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 boop. Dang it. Boop 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 boop. Alright, so yes, I am back. But otherwise, Royal Magical Library is a pretty good card. It's a level 4, so you can XYZ with it. You have no problem. It has 2000 defense, so it should last for a little bit. Blast Magician, again, is an old card. Decent stats for its time. Now I don't know if that's exactly the case. Again, also has counters on it. This is the card that I was saying doesn't surprise me, or some type of demonstrating or demoting comment. Mythical Beast Cerberus. Like the Flame Cerberus, the Flame Cerberus is one of the first generation cards that were very strong for its time. You would actually be able to see the card if you played Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories for the PlayStation 1. I actually own the game, so I do know what I'm talking about. It requires a fusion of a fire and something else. I can't think of it right now. Like a fire and earth type, and 2100 attack. It's a pretty strong card for its time. But with this just kind of just made me lose hope. Again, maybe I'm not going to totally trash it because the effect could be good. Mako, Master of Barriers. Probably a very good card, has decent stats. And, well, it is pretty good. Destroys magic and trap cards, or trap cards, if I'm correct. Yeah, and they're all continuous too, so those could be very useful for this deck. Crystal Seer. Now, cards like this, reason being for having weak stats would be its effect is good. The flip effect and these new cards, I don't understand why they say this. Instead of saying draw or search, it says excavate. Excavate. Since when do we get shovels and excavate our decks for cards? Since when have we ever excavated our decks for cards? You could just simply say draw, or pick up, or search. Nothing is wrong, there's no misinterpretation with that. Excavate, on the other hand, when I first seen the card, the first thing that popped into my mind were archaeologists. They excavate the land for any type of architectural designs, thus digging for designs. I don't think of drawing, picking up cards, thing like that. So, moving on. Magical Exemplar. Now, my last video, maybe if it was in there, I'm not very sure. But I do know I had 2 of those boxes, the Battle Kit 3s. And one of them, I actually pulled this out. It's a pretty good card from what I've seen. I'll tell you more if you decide to put it in the comment section below. Magical Citadel of... Oh, there it is. So, the Magical Citadel of Endymion. This looks like a pretty cool spell card. Field spell while we're at it. And it is very wordy, but I can assume that it's a pretty good field spell. Spell Power Grasp. Seeing how this card looks, it probably will have something to do with counters. And it also might have something to do with boosting cards to a point. Magicians Unite is nothing old, it's nothing new either, it's in the middle. And it's a pretty good card to have. Mistbody looks... Actually, this is very useful. Mistbody says the equipped monster cannot be destroyed by battle. Very good. Doesn't mean you'll still take damage. Malevolent Nuzzler, pretty decent. It's an old card, nostalgic as can be. Giant Trunade, extremely nostalgic. Fisher, extremely nostalgic. Swords of Revealing Light, extremely nostalgic. I'm sorry, the reason why I'm passing them by is because when I say extremely nostalgic, I mean it's been since the very beginning, since the first season. So, from Malevolent Nuzzler all the way to this point, that has been around since the very first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! But again, to each in their own. So we also have Mage Power, which is a very, very good card, actually, might I add. Can really get you out of a tight spot sometimes, or just overpower your opponent. And since it is a equip card, it doesn't really do very much. Terraforming. If you ever have a field spell in your deck and you want to get it out immediately, just get this card, activate it, you can pick it right out from your deck. Enemy Controller is a very good card too. It's a quick play, so again, like with all quick plays, you can activate it at any time during either player's turn, including the battle phase. The best thing about the battle phase is that if you activate this, then the opponent gets the option if he or she wants to continue commencing their attack. So if you activate this and you say, do you still want to attack? If they say yes, then so be it. Then the spell card's effect will have to resolve before the attack proceeds. But if they say no, they can cancel the attack. And cards like this, it still goes through. It's very useful. Book of Moon, same thing. This one's actually pretty useful too because it turns the face down. So if you have quite a bit of flip effect monsters, that could be in your favor. Magical Blast actually looks pretty good. I like the design of it. The effect probably will state something like you get to destroy magic or traps and or monsters, or monsters can't be affected by magic and traps for an X amount of turns. Something like that. Magical Dimension is not a new card. It is old, not going to say quite old, but it is old nonetheless. And again, quick play just like our next card. Seems like I've noticed there's a pattern with this deck. Spell cards are either equip, field, or quick play. I don't see a lot of normal ones. Twister. Ugh. That's all I can say with this card. Ugh. The reason why I say ugh is because with Twister, I have Tornado, which is extremely similar. The difference between the two is this one, you have to pay 500 life points to destroy magic or trap. Tornado, you don't need to do that, but you have to make sure that your opponent has 3 or more face downs. So to the either or fallacy on that one. Field Barrier, the zombie deck has Terramorphous, their respective field card, and the Field Barrier card. This card is extremely useful. If someone decides to try to Mystical Space Typhoon or Dust Tornado your field card, they cannot do that because this card protects all field cards. This card would have to be destroyed first in order to destroy the field card. Magician's Circle. If you notice something here, this seems very cool. You see part of the Blackluster Soldier's Ritual, you see the Spellbinding Circle, and some lava. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but it's pretty cool. This could be very useful, actually. For those who have Dark Magician Girl in your deck, this card is really useful. Now this card is pretty old, Pitch Black Power Stone. It's a very decent card, and as you can see, there are more than one. Tower of Babel. Oh my gosh. It is a good card. Very good card. This card, you activate it, you can activate magic cards. I'm sorry if I'm yawning in this video, but you can activate magic cards, and whomever activates the 4th magic card, this card will be destroyed, but that person receives 3,000 points of damage. 3,000. That is an insane amount of damage that one will receive from this card. Now, of course, it can flip over and be on you as well, so be very careful on how many cards. Keep track of the cards. If you need to, if it's a regular magic card, use it, and then use that card instead of going to the graveyard as a counter. I tend to use cards from my graveyards in my graveyard as a counter, so I can keep track. This card is one of those cards, so be very careful on how you use it, because it can hurt you. And we come to the last card of the deck, Magic Cylinder. Card's expensive at the card shop, so you can tell this card still holds its name true and through. This card is amazing. It can help you out of a tight spot. And oh my gosh, there's just nothing I can really say other than it is a nostalgic first generation card. That is the amazing thing about it. Up till today's time, you can still use this card effectively. Basically, what I mean, why I'm practically praising this card, is that if a monster decides to attack you directly, or attack you, period, you can, 1, stop the attack because it's going to redirect back at them. So let's say your monster is compromised. The monster that he has is a Dark Magician or Blackluster Soldier. Blackluster Soldier attacks your card. It's going to be the end of the duel. Bam, activate this. As long as they don't have anything to defend themselves, that 3,000 attack will go and come back to him. Or should I say to your life points. Because it will redirect back at you, which means you're going to lose 3,000 life points. Whoa. Wow, that's a lot of damage. And the person who used it just spared themselves another turn, which can change a duel. Very good card. I highly recommend that you have that card in your deck. So that is pretty much it to the box, or to the structure deck of Spellcaster's Command. Again, very good deck. Believe it or not, came with a very good card. Nice field design. I like it. Very, very detailed book. I actually kept a couple just in case. If you guys want to, I will try to see if I could start selling my cards on eBay again, because I did it before, and see if you guys want these. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Comment on what you want us to do a review on next. Whether it may be a box, a booster opening, or a specific booster pack. I know that the Eye of Timaeus is finally a legit, real Yu-Gi-Oh card. The Eye of Timaeus, for those who have known, during the, as I call, the Seal of Orichalcos saga, which is literally after Merrick Ishtar was defeated, which I think is the 3rd season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh my gosh. You had 3 cards, and I still remember them up to this day. The Eye of Timaeus, the Fang of Critium, and the Claw of Hermnos. Those 3 cards are amazing because they can fuse with monsters, magics, and or trap cards. And the unique thing about it is that they finally have the Eye of Timaeus out. They even have fusion cards that include the Eye of Timaeus, which is really cool. But I'm just happy that they finally had the card out. I was going to buy it individually, but I decided to buy the booster pack. I'm sorry I don't have it to do an opening with, but I bought 2 booster packs and I didn't get the card. But I will eventually just buy the card, since it's cheap right now, and I will definitely do like a why I like this card. I definitely have something to say about that card. It's almost just as favored as my baby Winged Dragon of Ra, which, by the way, I will get to in the why I like this card video soon. But enough of that. I will see you guys in the next video. I don't know what I will be doing next, but hopefully whatever I do you guys will like. You can go ahead and leave a comment again if you have a preference to what you want us to do, whether it's the why I like this card, favorite card types, like attribute wise or type wise, deck reviews. You can put all that in the comment section below, and subscribe to this channel if you like Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you want to know more about it. See you guys later.